Hey guys, I have a lot of people coming to me right now. Coming into spring and summer, a lot of people are thinking about getting married and they're asking, like, how do I know if this is the one for me? So, I have put together a document just to make sure that I cover all the bases on the way that I see this, and I'll expand on some of this for you. Okay, so you don't want to marry a karmic. You don't want to be with a karmic because, karmics are fine to learn from, but you certainly don't want to marry one. So hopefully this video will help you to decipher who's who. A karmic person is somebody, we all learn from people, but a karmic is like somebody where you're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. You try and try and try and try and try with this person, and it just doesn't fit, no matter how hard both of you try. And both of you are kind of like also usually in some type of denial, like trying to fake each other out. It's like inauthentic to some degree. And a lot of those relationships right now with these eclipses are breaking up. So good. Most people who are breaking up right now, I'm saying congratulations. That's awesome because now you can find your true love. Now, there are lots of different types of true love. So I'm going to go over those for you right now as well. I feel like there are 4 true love types of people. So there's the twin flame. No. Let's start with the soulmate. So much simpler. Soulmates are the ones who, basically, they're the ones who met at 16 and stayed together. They're still together. It's like easy, comfortable. Yeah, they run into problems, but they get over things pretty quick. There's not all that much conflict, and there's certainly not like a ton to figure out with that person. Soulmates are nice and easy. They don't really challenge you much, So some people, I guess, some of the problems that people have encountered with a soulmate, if you have one, is that maybe they can get boring. But, just like with anything, you make it what it is. So you can always spice things up or take tantra classes, take it to another level, do some fun things. I don't know, get involved in something together to where you guys, there's so many different things that you can do to try to like take a soulmate relationship to another level. A lot of them go on road trips and they travel and they do all kinds of cool things together. So a soulmate relationship is definitely way better than a karmic relationship because you're not going to have all the fighting and all that kind of stuff. So soulmates are great. But soulmates can also be your dog, your cat, your brother, your sister. We've got probably 10 to 15 soulmates, each of us, in many different ways. Your best friend's probably a soulmate, if you get along really great and nothing ever really goes wrong between you. Okay, so, and you can have karmic friendships as well, just to clarify. Let's see, what else? Was there something else I was going to say about soulmates? Nope. Okay. So then I guess I'll cover the love at first sight next. Love at first sight. Now, I've been experimenting with all these different types of relationships. That's why I'm writing my book, but I've been experimenting for like a couple of years. The love at first sight person, sometimes that is a soulmate, but sometimes there's a love at first sight person that comes in when you found a twin flame. When you're too fixated on your twin flame and you kind of need a little perspective shift, the love at first sight guy shows up and kind of shows you that there are options, that's not going to be the only person you're ever going to love in your life, potentially, that there are alternatives. Because sometimes, like, once you've met your twin flame, it's so special and so unique that people cling. So the love at first sight person sometimes just comes in, shakes up your world, shows you that there are other options out there, and then takes off. I have yet to see a love at first sight person stick, but that's from my own experience and from the readings that I've done and the experiences people have shared with me. That's all I've seen. But that doesn't mean that won't change, and I would definitely report it to you guys if it does. But it's definitely also really like a profound experience because it's like you immediately know and love this person. Also, with all these relationships I'm describing, the soulmates, twin flames, soul flames, and love at first sight, the reason that you have this immediate chemistry with them is that you've got all these past lives with them. So there's a familiarity, almost like a feeling of home with this person. So that's why that's there, and that's why it's so weird and intense. Okay, so now we'll get into the complicated one, the twin flame. Twin flames, they meet, and it's playful and sweet and innocent and kind, and you guys really see each other like nobody else has ever seen you. You really get each other on a deep level. Both of you are open and authentic, and it kind of blows both of your minds to see that that type of thing even exists. And then it's usually followed by the one that's more in their masculine. They become the runner, and the feminine one chases. So there's a divine feminine and a divine masculine. And basically, I've made a list of, how you can figure out whether you're the runner or the chaser in that dynamic. Okay. And this could have been like in your past. If you're at the point now where you're wondering if this person could be it, then this list will help you to realize or see what you've been through in the past and how it kind of helped get you ready, okay? So this describes the runner. Have you run away from a certain someone in your past because you were afraid to get hurt again? Feeling unworthy of the intensity of that love? Feel maybe that you're cursed in love? Ultimately push everyone away? Have issues with your mom? Have addictions to deal with? This could be the feminine too. I didn't put that in her list, but they live too far away, are the wrong race or sex, don't have enough money. It would cause your family too much grief. They live, it doesn't mesh with the belief system they grew up with, or some other dramatic differences that seem like you'd be fighting all odds if you came together. If you feel illogical that it would work, it's too illogical, it won't work, it's impossible, maybe even push them away into friend zone. Perhaps you've resigned yourself to stay put, having settled with people. In the meantime, you don't really have to invest too much in or go too deep with. And they could even look like the real deal, like your other person you've already found, only less threatening in some ways, yet incredibly manipulative and even using you for money or whatever it is, status or whatever. All the while thinking and fantasizing about what it'd be like to be with this other more authentic person that you actually love. Some of the masculines have reported even crying silently and looking out the window and daydreaming of being with their dream person, but they settle for these karmic type relationships and even think about marrying some of them because they're people pleasing them and they're people pleasing their families, and it's just a really sad situation to get yourself in. But if you do it, just another lesson. We've all been with these karmics and even been with them for years. But the difference is that if you've met your twin flame, it makes it especially hard because you have that person you'll compare them with forever, as long as the relationship lasts. And that's no way to live. So you're the chaser. If have you been chasing some guy or girl? The sex doesn't matter what sex you are, because I have gay people that I work with that are twin flames, and I have very big bodybuilder guys who are the feminine and stuff like that. So here's how you can feel that out. Have you been chasing some guy or girl whose friends are labeling you as or the other person as emotionally unavailable? Did you have the most amazing connection with them, then panicked as they pulled away from you? Did you see him dating other people you knew were beneath him while he was acting happy on social media? And I say acting because many of them are trying to put on a facade like they're just doing great, they're doing fantastic. If he insisted you guys will only be friends or wanted distance for a time, as you were left feeling unworthy, ugly, unlovable, rejected, and hurt by his pulling away and ghosting you? Has it left you completely confused and dumbfounded as to why he left or pushed you away when you know You had the most incredible connection you've ever felt in your life, and you know that he did too. Maybe he's even lied right to your face, or he won't commit. He won't just talk to you or be honest with you. You can't seem to be able to date anyone else because they just don't compare. And you can't just sleep around because you're kind of saving yourself for that person. You most likely have remained single and lonely waiting for him to return. So, if those, now you know like which one you are. This is a common dynamic that's actually part of a master plan. It's all by design. It's geared toward challenging both of you, kind of getting you ready and more deserving for one another. It teaches you how to love yourself and others unconditionally. They will most likely get you on a profoundly deep level, although you're opposite in so many ways. You complement each other perfectly. Where one is weak, the other is strong, and vice versa. The way this is supposed to work by design, ideally, is that the chaser stops chasing, the runner stops running, and the chaser starts standing in her power, focusing on her life purpose. She overcomes abandonment and self-esteem issues, and she becomes like the lighthouse for her masculine to follow, to find his way like through his fog, because he goes through somewhat of a dark night of the soul. He eventually finds his way back to her, grows and matures through all the doubts and insecurities, and shows up with an apology for his divine feminine. And they can begin a relationship that's also called union, like in this type of community where twin flames talk and all that sort of thing, because they usually need support. And they become a power couple at that point. But he does have free will. And if the chaser stops chasing, has worked on herself and kept her vibration high, while her counterpart has dug his heels in, refused to develop, and stays in his old ways too long, the universe steps in with a plan B, what I like to call a soul flame. This soul flame person may have had a similar dynamic to the twin flame, where you guys kind of had this back and forth thing in the past. But they have matured and developed and have gotten to the point where they are ready for commitment with you. This is kind of the universe's way of making sure that if you do all your diligent work, they're still bringing you in somebody who means the world to you. So, not only that, but he's like ready to fly to great heights with you. This is the universe's way, yes, of ensuring that you've got that option for a more suitable partner. In the meantime, the one who refuses to grow and mature stays stuck with karmic partners in a state of regret for as long as that takes. And a lot of times, the twin flame, if they do dig their heels in and they don't develop, years later they might come find their feminine with a soul flame. And then, so if that should happen, then just if you're a divine feminine and you find yourself with a soul flame in the future, your twin flame comes back, I think it's important that you just have strong boundaries and say no to that twin flame. I don't know what happens from there. I'm not quite sure about that, but I believe if the twin flame that said no in the past stays stuck, he will always have karmic partners. But if he were to develop and mature and everything, then I bet he could find a soulmate or something like that as an alternative. Okay. So how do these two know when they are actually ready to be together, to be in union? The runner is ready when he no longer cares what anyone thinks of the choice that he wants to make and cares more about himself and his own happiness to take a step forward and reach out. Number 2, he's no longer coming up with excuses as to why they can't be together. He realizes he has and is enough just as he is, and is more solutions oriented than seeing the glass half empty or being skeptical of the whole thing. 3, he's broken up with any karmic partners and set strong boundaries with him or her, seeing their manipulations clearly and not putting up with it, and or seeing the benefit for that person and helping them move on so they can find their own true love relationship. So that's one thing that they've realized is if the karmic isn't right with me and that I don't want them for the long haul, and I know that already, then I'm kind of holding them back from being with somebody that they could have a really incredible connection with as well. So sometimes you have to realize that to be able to let them go from a place of love and still stand your boundaries really strong and say, you know what, as long as you're clinging on to me, you cannot have what you want. So we both want what we want. And even though that person may not be here right now, you got to have faith that they're going to be out there, and you can't be holding on to me if you're going to be meeting up with that person. And I'm not going to sit there letting you hold me back in my life, while you wait for yours to show up. Sometimes that karmic partner has a lot more growing up to do before they come into alignment with their person, but they can't be holding on to you in the meantime. That's just not fair. So, and in your heart of hearts, like if that person were to meet their person, they'd drop you like a hot potato. So you be the one to drop them like a hot potato because you found your person. That's how you know you've got self-esteem now. Okay. Also, so you see their manipulations clearly. You help that other person move on. They're grateful for what the experience has taught them, and he's overcome being codependent on her. Both of them. He breaks that chain and says, no longer. This is tough love. He's also put his player days behind because he knows his value and what will make him happy long term. And by the way, I've been in both scenarios. I've been the runner and I've been the chaser. And I've had the twin flame and I've had the twin flame and I not work out. So I am on to my plan B, my soul flame, who has not contacted me yet. But I'm hoping he will. Number 4, he can apologize. He knows he's capable of taking personal responsibility for his own behavior and is willing to own, accept any consequences, and do what he can to make things up to her. Number 5, even if he's still scared, he's willing to overcome the fear of rejection and reach out with vulnerability, authenticity, and offers his feminine and honest heart-to-heart conversation to get the ball rolling toward reconciliation, even if just a playful text at first. So a lot of these masculines, when they do get ready, and I've seen them do it, it's not like a fable or a fairy tale. I've actually seen the divine masculine do this. But a lot of times they use humor to deflect the intensity of the situation because there's been a lot that has gone on between them, and sometimes you just got to be playful to get the ball rolling again. Don't expect it to be like this big, deep conversation at first. Okay, the chaser, how you know you're ready. Take another drink. Me and my Zevias, man. Okay. The chaser. Number 1, she's ready when she's no longer fearful of what he thinks of her or what her friends think of him. 2, she's realized her worth just as she is and is flying high in her career and life purpose. This is very common. 3, she's not mad at his karmic. In fact, she sees the benefit of him having dated all these other people. Number 4, she forgives him and herself, him for all he said, the lies, the hiding, the avoiding, etc., and herself for beating herself up and making him the center of her life instead of her own happiness. Number 5, she knows how to be happy despite any circumstances. She no longer blames him for any dissatisfaction she's experiencing and knows she can maintain her own inner peace and balance no matter how he acts or what he says when he does show up. So I had this divine feminine say one time, I started to say, oh, he's struggling with this and he's having a problem with that. And she was like, oh, well, then I don't want him. And I don't want to deal with that at all. And I was like, okay, that's really fickle. Like, that's just really fickle. For one, you have issues. You got to work on your issues and know that you have issues too. But it's like she's like some of these feminines. If you're super up and super down and super up and super down, depending on what he's doing, that's codependent. That's very unhealthy. If he says something nice to you and you're on cloud nine, and then he says something that you might read into as being a negative thing, and you crash, that's codependent, and you're not going to be able to make a relationship last, any relationship at all, if you're doing that. You need to be able to maintain your own happiness, your own well-being, your own balance, no matter what they do or what they say or how they act or whether they're here or whether they're not or where they, like, despite any circumstances. It doesn't mean, like, if this person is abusive, it doesn't mean you put up with that. You don't have to be with anybody you don't want to be with. And if they're like an extreme, and this other case wasn't, if it's something very extreme, then you would have to decide, yeah, that you don't want to be with that person. Like with me and my twin flame, we just had some pretty extreme differences. They all do, they all do. But he wanted to stay stuck, pretty much. He decided that he likes his world as it is and doesn't want me coming in and changing anything. So that's fine. And everybody has that prerogative. But learning how to be happy despite any circumstances is, oh, and by the way, if your twin flame is in that space that mine is in, then bless them, wish them well, even love them, and just, they have free will. So don't worry about it. You got somebody else that's going to be way better. Trust me. So, and by the way, my plan B, I wanted before my twin anyway. So, yeah, anyway, so be happy despite any circumstances. Just learn to be that way, and you will be able to stick. If you're being neurotic, you're going to carry that into your relationship, and it's just not going to work. All right. So number 6, she's willing to receive his any gesture with an open heart and mind and doesn't care when it comes. She has no expectations or blame. She's willing to meet him at a lighthearted and playful level. She's just faithful he's coming at the right time and in the right way. She's let go of any angst about it, and she's let go and let God. All right, neither of them will be able to keep a relationship intact unless they take personal responsibility, and I will repeat this over and over because it is the key. If you're being neurotic or codependent on anyone, you will most likely separate again. Now, I know that every relationship, this isn't going to be like a perfect relationship, but you got to be able to get triggered and communicate through it. You got in a mature way. And not just like be fickle and take off at the first sign of anything being difficult. And that's just being fearful. And you gotta have the maturity to just be able to tell each other how you feel, basically. And both of you have to be willing to say, yeah, I did do that, or yeah, that kind of sucked the way I just talked to you, or yeah, I can see where that would really hurt when I ghost you, or yeah, that I don't like that I jumped to a conclusion about that. You didn't actually do anything. You actually said this and I read into it. So yeah, I can see where that can be seen that way. Like, you got to be willing to talk it out in a mature, grounded way and keep your happiness, and don't point fingers at each other and say, if you would just be different, if you would just do this, then I would be happy. That's not fair. Nobody can ever be everything that you want them to be. Nobody's going to be perfect. It's so important. It's so important that I don't even care if this is your job or like what we're talking about here, that you be able to take personal responsibility and be able to see your own stuff. And it's not even to blame yourself or give yourself a hard time. It's more there's a certain freedom in being self-aware. There's a certain freedom in being able to laugh at yourself, and that's what I'm talking about. I mean, like the Dalai Lama, he can laugh at everything. Have a sense of humor. It's super important. In summary, you found the one. If you found a soulmate and it's just easy and that's fulfilling for you, Or you've been in this runner-chaser dynamic and both of you are at this point of readiness that I've described. Until then, if you're not ready, you'll just keep getting lessons until you're done with the classroom and decide to graduate. And it is a decision. You can end everything right now. Anything that you feel like you're doing that's kind of getting in the way, that maybe you're like, oh, number 4, I guess I am still hiding or avoiding or lying or, whatever it is. You can decide to stop any of it right now if you get tired of it. You just have to get to the point where you're tired of it. Okay, if you've developed and your counterpart hasn't, which this would most likely be the feminine because they're usually more developed, they know about the connection sooner than he does. So if you've developed and your counterpart hasn't, realize that even if not with that person that you're thinking of, you will still bring in love that will match you at your point of readiness if you let go, heal yourself, and be happy with everything being just as it is. This will also bring you to your best suited partner, no matter who that is. So don't ever despair. If you feel like, you're just like, I see nothing, I hear nothing, I have no idea where he's at, I just don't have any hope anymore. Just switch your attention either to, just think of what's possible. Think of, wow, if my success, if I'm becoming like totally successful, my business is just taking off, I feel happy and joyful for the most part. I'm having a great time with my friends. I'm out really enjoying my life. Just imagine like what's in my vortex, like they call it in the law of attraction or Abraham Hicks talks about. So just imagine what kind of incredible guy is in my vortex is coming to me any minute. And just stay in that type of a feeling. Don't be like, oh, I'm not going to be with this twin flame. He's just stuck and he's never going to do anything. And he's, don't get in that kind of a vibration because then you're just feeling sorry for yourself and you're being a victim and you're being a martyr, and that never attracts the right thing. You'll end up attracting a karmic partner, or you'll just get really depressed, and that's not very self-loving. So you have your best chance at finding or bringing in this person for you, whether it's your plan B or plan C or plan D or whatever the heck. If you can stay in a really good positive space, whatever that takes. And I do have some great resources on my website. If you want to take a look, it's amysatori.com. But radical acceptance of the situation as it is absolutely key. If you're constantly having to go to psychics to know what to say, or friends to know what to say, to what to do, if you're stressing about it, if there's angst, if there's like anxiety around it, or if you're feeling really bad about yourself because of it, you're not there yet. You're not ready yet. So let go, let God, trust it's going to work out. Don't be, get involved in whatever you can that you feel passionate about so that you can truly let go. And also so your masculine can surprise you. I mean, so many feminines are like at the window with their face up against the window, like, when's he coming? When's he coming? How can he surprise you? So there is that too. But of course, I understand that it sometimes when you watch the collective readings and get a reading, you can be really encouraged by it as well. So it can help you keep your faith. If it truly does help you keep your faith, if you're continuously needing to keep your faith up, then it's time to just drop the subject and get really present in the moment and let go of the whole thing and just get happy. Because no matter what, if you get happy, stay in a high vibe state, you're going to bring somebody phenomenal through. So, all right, I hope this helps, and would love to hear any comments you guys have. And yeah, if you liked this video, even though I'm reading off of a script, and I apologize for that, if you like the video, then subscribe to me, set your bell notification so you continue to get videos like this. And I guess I'll talk to you the next time I make one of these. Have a good one. Bye.